I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars, and today we're driving the brand new Hyundai Elantra. The Elantra is a small sedan that competes with the likes of the Mazda 3 and the Toyota Corolla, but Hyundai think that they're onto a winner with their new model because it's been extensively tuned here in Australia for our local conditions. This is also an important car because it foreshadows developments in the next Hyundai i30, which is routinely one of Australia's most popular cars. So let's jump inside the Elantra and see exactly how good Hyundai's new small car is. Hop inside the Hyundai Elantra and the first thing you realise is just how good this interior looks. It might be a bit more conservative in style to cars like the Mazda 3, but this is one of the best cabins in this segment, and it's built around this functional and clean looking dashboard here that's angled towards the driver. Every Elantra comes with a standard 7-inch touchscreen, and it's packed with Apple CarPlay as standard as well. So if you've got an iPhone, it lets you mirror your iPhone's maps, music, Spotify, and a host of other apps. It's a system that works really well. The Elantra is available with either dark or light coloured seats, and I would recommend going for these greyish cream ones because they really lift the interior. But while I'm talking about these seats, although they're comfortable and soft, I found it kind of difficult to get into a really good driving position. That said, I'm tall and skinny, and I know other people have been comfortable driving the car. But before these seats make their way into the new Hyundai i30, it would be great if the brand would add a little bit more adjustability. But back to the positives, most of the materials in here feel nice. There's this cool small steering wheel, and the stereo is pretty decent too. Here in the back of the Elantra, you can fit 2 adults sitting side by side or 3 at a pinch. There's actually no transmission tunnel down there, which it gets good marks for. And you can see for me at 6'0", I've got enough headroom and pretty good legroom actually sitting behind myself here. So that's good. And while we're back here, let's chat about the price of the Elantra, where you can get into one for about 22 grand for the base model active manual. And in fact, the base car has pretty much everything you need. To get the automatic, that takes you up to about 24,000. The car that we're in now is the Elite, which is currently the top of the range model, and that's about $26,500. And that adds things like leather seats and dual zone climate control, plus a proximity key. Pop the boot on the Elantra sedan, and you'll be really impressed by the amount of room that's in there. At 468 litres, this little Hyundai actually has almost as much as a Holden Commodore and about 20% more than the competing Mazda 3, so that's really impressive. Plus, it's easy to release the seats from within the boot, so you can fold them pretty much flat and get a really long load space as well. So what's the Elantra like to drive then? Well, in many respects, it's very, very good. Hyundai Australia are doing some great things because they've won some pretty substantial freedom to make changes to the handling characteristics of their cars in order to suit Australia's unique tastes and conditions. And that means that here in Australia, the Elantra feels like a bigger and more refined car than it does in some other markets. So that means that the steering is really firm, the Elantra feels responsive and lively in the corners. If anything, there's a little too much body roll, but I'm really looking to find a criticism there. The ride quality is just outstanding. The way this car insulates bumps feels like a car 3 times the price of this. I mean, it's so hard to remember that this is a $25,000 car from the way that it drives, and that really makes the Elantra sort of the gold standard in comfort in this class. One disappointment though would be the current 2-litre petrol engine. So the Elantra will soon be getting the 1.6-litre turbo petrol, which is awesome in the Tucson SUV. So if you like the look of this car, if you're thinking about perhaps buying one, then wait for that turbo because it's going to make the car feel so much better to drive. The 2-litre, which has 112 kilowatts of power and 192 newton meters of torque, it just feels like it's working pretty hard and it gets quite noisy, which for a car that's otherwise really refined doesn't quite suit the character. But one upside to that 2-litre is that it doesn't appear to actually use any petrol, because over our combined country and town test loop it returned a score which was better than 7 litres per 100 kilometres. One final comment would be that advanced safety technology isn't available even as an option on the Elantra, which is a disappointment because the Mazda 3 does have it as a separate option pack, and that's something that Hyundai should consider. So, the Elantra tops this class in terms of ride quality, but the best buying is yet to come. Once the turbo engine arrives, this will be a very difficult small sedan to beat. But even with the 2 litre, the Elantra is a must drive if you're shopping for a car this size.